Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to more White Sox Daily. I am Aaron Feely once again, as it is officially, for the first time in 2026, game day here on this channel, as the White Sox are going to be in action come 2:05 p.m. against the Chicago Cubs in the Cactus League as they get spring training started. Got a little bit of news in regards to this coming season and spring training and today's game specifically here in today's video. Chicago, a bit of buzz with sports news right now. Maybe a lot of people not particularly thinking about White Sox spring training at the moment, with some of the news coming out in regards to the potential of the Chicago Bears moving to Hammond, Indiana to play their home games. That is not finalized, regardless of whatever any random local reporters are reporting. Just an agreement has been reached between the state and the Bears, should the Bears choose to go forward with that. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter in the slightest. It's like 20 minutes away. I do not care, and I don't care about where the tax dollars go for the home games. I don't even live in Chicago anymore. I live outside the state at this point, so I don't really care if the Bears end up across the state line. That'll just be my 2 cents in regards to another Chicago sporting major news story, and we'll jump right into it with White Sox specific news now, as we've got some lofty expectations thrust early on upon big-time White Sox premier offseason acquisition in Munetaka Murakami, as his ex-manager came in and delivered a bit of a soundbite, so to speak, on Murakami's behalf, speaking with the Chicago Sports Network's Chuck Garfien over the weekend, talking about how he expected Murakami to adjust to Major League Baseball. Shingo Takatsu, who managed him over in the Nippon League in Japan, was asked specifically about how his power would translate to Major League Baseball and how many home runs he thought he could hit. He immediately said, with not a single ounce of irony, laughter, humor in his voice at all, 55. That was the number he gave. The Chicago Sports Network hosts kind of gave a chuckle and asked if he was serious, to which he replied, "I'm sure he can adjust well, and I'm sure he will do good, if not hit 55. I don't want to give you a big number, but I am positive that it's possible." So some big-time expectations already being lauded onto Murakami before he's even played a single practice game here as a member of the Chicago White Sox. 55 home runs, the expectation now placed upon his shoulders from his own former manager, which would be a historic rookie campaign for Murakami. Right now, Pete Alonso currently holds the rookie home run record with 53. That was back in 2019. 55 obviously would break that by multiple home runs. It would shatter several White Sox records as well. Probably some more realistic expectations to place upon him. Probably looking at, potentially going to be in the competition for leading the team in home runs. I could certainly see that, even though we haven't actually seen him put bat to ball yet in a White Sox uniform. I don't think it's unfair to expect some of his power to translate early. How much contact is he going to be able to make? That will still be kind of to be determined and to be proven, which could alter his home run numbers for sure. But I think a reasonable expectation for this rookie year, if you're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of, let's say, over 20, between 20 and 30 home runs for Murakami his rookie season as he kind of gets adjusted to Major League pitching, I think would be perfectly reasonable expectation to have of the power hitting first baseman. If he goes over 30, I say we all celebrate. We all run into the streets and we let off fireworks. I mean, that would just be stupendous. If he hits 55, build him a statue. I don't even care. Put it right outside the stadium. Put a second one in Hammond, Indiana. Put a third one in Des Moines. Why not? It would, if he hits 55, we can go as wonky as we want to in our celebrating of that one. I don't think there's any such thing as an overreaction if he were to reach that goal. But yeah, certainly an intense expectation placed upon him from his own former manager, and we'll see if he's able to hit that this coming season. That would be spectacular, I'll say that much. But speaking of spectacular, lofty goals, got to appreciate Edgar Caro's big prediction that he gave in another interview that came with Chicago Sports Network, as Edgar Caro talked about how far he expects the Chicago White Sox to be able to go in 2026, and he was very blunt and to the point, talking about playoff hopes and dreams for this coming season. Said, I don't see why we wouldn't think playoffs. We're here to play in the playoffs. We're not going to come here and just make an okay season. We don't want that. We want to be in the playoffs. Doesn't matter how, we're going to push to be there and then make noise once we get there. So, yeah, back-to-back big-time predictions for the Chicago White Sox from the mouths of either their own players or ex-managers of their own players, as the White Sox continuing to push big. You got to give them some credit here. They're not being shy. They're not backing down in the slightest. So we'll see. If Murakami hits 55 home runs, I think you can certainly start to think about the playoffs as the Chicago White Sox. I still maintain, even with the Detroit Tigers picking up a bunch of pitching help, I do not foresee this being some scary division. I think the American League Central is maybe the most attainable, winnable division in baseball. I am not scared of the Kansas City Royals. I am not scared of the Minnesota Twins. I am not scared of the Cleveland Guardians, except for when they play us head-to-head, because for some reason, they destroy us head-to-head, whether we are good, whether they are good, whether either team is bad, whether both teams are bad, whether the Cleveland Guardians are blindfolded and forced to play with tennis rackets instead of baseball bats. Does not matter. They are called the Cleveland Guardians, and we are called the Chicago White Sox. So any combination of player, manager, and anything else in between automatically still maintains that whatever witch's curse be upon us, that the Cleveland Guardians will own us. But then they'll have to play teams that are not us, and I certainly don't think that they will do spectacularly in those games. And the Detroit Tigers, I think, are the only real playoff contender in this division, and by playoff contender, I do not mean World Series favorite. I mean they could contend to make the playoffs and then be eliminated in round one fairly easily by some actual team after that. And you know what? Why not us? Why can't the Chicago White Sox make a push to surprise some people, to have Murakami come out and hit 55 home runs? That'll be the last of those jokes I make in this video. And you know, we could be the team that goes out and just gets slaughtered by the New York Yankees or the Toronto Blue Jays in round one. That could absolutely be our role in 2026. I have no doubts about it. The Chicago White Sox could very well be thinking about the playoffs if that's what they want to do. I've certainly been very vocal about it. I think that's a perfectly reasonable expectation to have as a fan, that yes, this will be more about rebuilding. That's the realistic goal to have, but there's no reason not to dream a little bit about winning a very weak division and then being allowed to get slaughtered in, a couple of games come round one of the playoffs. Edgar Caro, in a similar mindset. And then we've got some news for later on today in today's ball game at 2:05, as we mentioned earlier. The starting pitcher for Game 1 has been announced. It will be Jonathan Cannon, who, as we all know, will be one of the 10-ish starting pitchers given an opportunity to earn one of the 5 starting pitcher rotation roles on opening day for the 2026 season. The White Sox are going to give every single potential person that might be available to start games this year ample opportunity this spring to earn a starting job. Jonathan Cannon was really solid in 2024 when he made his big league debut, had a 4.49 ERA. Kind of took a step back in 2025, dropped down almost near a 6 ERA across 17 starts, ended up getting demoted to Charlotte. But now he's going to get an opportunity to have a big bounce back. He's still super young. He's only 25, has a big arm, a guy that could absolutely make some noise in this competition. He'll have to outcompete a whole host of other White Sox players, including Sean Newcomb, for some reason, coming out of the bullpen. He's going to get a chance to start some games this spring and actually not just do it, but to compete to win a starting job. That's still baffling to every single person that has ever watched a Chicago White Sox or Sean Newcomb game in history, but for some reason it's happening. Jonathan Cannon knows he's going to get the first crack. He's going to pitch tomorrow, and then you listening to this right now, you have an opportunity to start on Saturday, because every single person with a pulse that owns a White Sox jersey, if there's one in the back of your closet, you're going to get a chance to try to crack this starting rotation for opening day coming this spring. And then finally, some other news in regards to who else is playing later on today. We do know for a fact that the White Sox are not going to shy away from the fact that some of these guys in the World Baseball Classic might be needing some rest. The White Sox are going to go ahead and let a lot of them play in this opening game. So we are going to get our first look at Munetaka Murakami. He is confirmed to be playing later on today. Curtis Mead, Sam Antonaki, and Kyle Teal, who are all also going to be participating in the World Baseball Classic come next week, starting the 27th. All three of those guys also confirmed to be in the lineup later on today. No word yet as to who is playing where defensively and who's DHing, who's doing this, that, who else might be starting tomorrow. Maybe Curtis Mead's going to get a chance at it. I don't know. But no word on any of that. All we know is that all of them are going to be playing tomorrow. So the White Sox going to give these guys an opportunity to go out there, get a little bit of a ramp up before their World Baseball Classic games starting next week, which will also be a lot of fun. Can't wait to watch that. It was super fun a few years back. Hopefully Team USA goes a little bit further and is able to take that first place game this go around. But that'll do it for White Sox news today here on White Sox Daily. I've been Aaron Feely, and we'll see you guys next week.